Beyond the stars. We fall. The emergency sirens screamed as Captain Orion Drake fought to control his plummeting ship. With all systems failing, I can't stabilize, he muttered through gritted teeth. His fingers danced across the console, searching for any response from the dying vessel. The vastness of uncharted space stretched before him as the experimental wormhole drive sputtered and failed entirely. A brilliant flash of light engulfed the cockpit before darkness claimed his consciousness. Systems. Critical atmospheric entry in 10 seconds. The ship's AI announced emotionlessly. Orion awoke to the violent shaking of re-entry. His head pounding, blood trickled from a gash above his eye. Hold together just a little longer, he pleaded with the groaning metal hull. The planet below wasn't on any star chart. A swirling violet atmosphere parted to reveal landscapes that defied explanation. Mountains that seemed to float. Forests pulsing with internal light. Rivers that flowed upward against gravity. Impact came with a deafening roar. The experimental Earth Alliance craft carved a burning path through crystalline trees before coming to rest in a field of luminous grass that swayed without wind. When Orion regained consciousness, he found himself lying in soft purple soil several meters from the wreckage. His emergency survival suit had activated, automatically sealing against the unknown atmosphere. The air shimmered with particles that resembled suspended starlight. Communications, offline navigation, offline life support at 47%. His suit's computer informed him, perfect. Orion coughed, struggling to his feet, his dark hair matted with sweat and blood. Just another day in the Alliance. The landscape around him defied explanation. Massive trees with translucent trunks pulsed with internal energy. Birds or something like them with 4 wings and bodies that phased between visible and invisible darted through the canopy. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth standard, making each step feel buoyant as. Orion surveyed the crash site, evaluating what could be salvaged. A strange sensation crept up his spine. The feeling of being watched. He turned slowly, hand instinctively moving to his sidearm. Standing at the edge of the clearing was a humanoid figure. The setting light of twin suns illuminated her form. Her skin was a smooth lavender purple that seemed to glow from within. Long hair that resembled flowing ink with points of light like embedded stars cascaded down her shoulders. Her eyes were the most startling feature, large and gray like storm clouds with no visible pupils. But what froze Orion in place wasn't her otherworldly beauty. It was what she said next. Captain Orion Drake. She spoke, her voice melodic and calm. I've been waiting for your arrival. His weapon clattered to the ground. How do you know my name? He demanded. We're light years from any Earth outpost. The alien woman approached with graceful steps. The fabric of her garment seemed to flow like liquid starlight. I am Nia of the Zephyra, she said with a slight tilt of her head. And I have known you for a very long time, Orion, though this is the first time you have known me. That's impossible, he whispered. Nia smiled, revealing teeth that seemed made of pearl. Many things that seem impossible simply exist outside your current understanding. She extended her hand toward him. Come, your wounds need treatment, and there is much to explain. Against all training and protocol, Orion felt himself drawn toward her. An inexplicable trust that defied reason. Yet something in her eyes sparked recognition in the depths of his soul, as if he was remembering someone he had not yet met. Memories not yet made. I don't understand how you know me, Orion said as he followed Nia through the luminescent forest. The pain in his legs slowed his pace, but curiosity drove him forward. Are you telepathic? Did you intercept Alliance transmissions? Nia moved with fluid grace, her purple skin catching the light of bioluminescent plants. Neither, she replied, looking back with those storm gray eyes. The explanation is both simpler and more complex than you imagine. They emerged from the forest into a clearing where a structure stood impossibly out of place, smooth architectural, lines reminiscent of Earth design, but constructed from materials that seemed to shift between solid and ethereal. What is this place? Orion asked, his voice barely above a whisper. We call it the Convergence, Nia answered, a sanctuary where timelines intersect and overlap. Inside the structure, Orion froze in disbelief. The walls contained alcoves filled with objects that shouldn't exist here. An Earth Alliance insignia, a holographic image of his childhood. A book his mother had read to him as a child. This is impossible. He breathed, moving to touch the insignia. These are personal items, things no alien civilization could know about. Nia watched him with an expression of patient understanding. My people, the Zephyra, perceive time differently than humans. She explained, for us, time is not linear, but cyclical. All moments exist simultaneously. I know you, Orion, because I will meet you again many years from now when you return to our world as an emissary of peace. You're saying you know me from the future? Orion turned to face her. That's not possible. Time doesn't work that way. For humans, perhaps. Nia approached him and raised her hand near his face, not quite touching. May I show you? Something in her eyes sparked trust. He nodded. Her fingertips brushed his temple, and suddenly visions flooded his mind. Himself, older in diplomatic robes, standing before a council of purple-skinned beings, Nia beside him, their hands intertwined. A great celebration beneath twin moons. Words spoken in a language he somehow understood. When the connection broke, Orion staggered backward. What did you do to me? I shared memories, she said. Not yours yet, but mine already. If what you're saying is true, he said, running a hand through his dark hair, then why am I here now? A crash instead of a diplomatic mission? Nia's expression turned thoughtful. Time has currents and eddies, Captain. Sometimes events that should happen later occur sooner. Your arrival now was unexpected, a temporal anomaly. As darkness fell outside, they sat beneath a dome that revealed the night sky. 2 moons cast silver-blue light across the landscape. Stars formed, unfamiliar constellations. The Zephyra have watched many civilizations rise and fall, Nia explained as she treated his injuries with a salve that cooled and numbed. We rarely interfere, but sometimes connections form across species that transcend normal limitations. And you believe we have such a connection? Orion asked, watching her delicate movements. I know we do, she replied with certainty. In my timeline, we have known each other for years. You have taught me about Earth. I have taught you about the cosmic balance. Our worlds have benefited from the alliance. As she spoke, Orion found himself studying her face, the graceful curve of her neck, the way small points of light seemed to dance beneath her purple skin like embedded stars. Despite everything, his rational mind argued he felt a strange familiarity. If I meant to return years from now, how does my being here now affect things? He asked. Doesn't this change your future? Nia's expression grew serious. Time is attempting to correct itself. Your ship can be repaired, but doing so may create a paradox that collapses this timeline entirely. So I'm trapped here? Not trapped, Nia said, her eyes reflecting starlight. Perhaps this meeting was always meant to happen, just not in the order we expected. As she spoke, the second moon crested the horizon, bathing the sanctuary in silver light, illuminating the impossible artifacts of a life he had lived and somehow would live again. Heartbeats across time. Days passed as Orion adapted to life on Nyx. The atmosphere required no breathing apparatus. Surprisingly compatible with human physiology, the food strange but nourishing. The twin suns rose and set, marking time in an alien rhythm. Your ship's quantum core remains intact, Nia explained as they examined the wreckage together. With proper recalibration, it could generate enough power for a distress signal, or possibly even reactivate the wormhole drive. Orion ran his hand along the damaged hull. You seem awfully knowledgeable about Earth Alliance technology, he said with a raised eyebrow. Nia smiled, that mysterious smile that had begun to captivate him. In my timeline, you taught me everything about your ships. She touched a panel revealing circuitry unknown to him. And I taught you things about quantum mechanics that your scientists haven't yet discovered. Each day brought new revelations. The Zephyra were few in number, scattered across their world, in small enclaves, their civilization ancient but purposefully minimal in its footprint on the planet. They cultivated rather than conquered, living in harmony with Nyx's complex ecosystem. Each night brought them closer, conversations beneath stars, unfamiliar to him yet supposedly known to his future self. Stories exchanged, histories shared, questions of destiny and choice. if we truly have this connection? Orion asked one evening as they sat beside a pool of water that glowed from within. Why don't I feel recognition the way you do? Why don't I remember you? Because for you it hasn't happened yet, Naya replied. Her fingers traced patterns in the luminescent water. For me, our history is complete. For you, it's still unwritten. She looked up at him. Does that bother you? I don't know, he admitted. It feels like I'm at a disadvantage. You know how this story ends? No. She shook her head, her starlit hair flowing like liquid night. I know how our story begins. The ending hasn't been written for either of us. That night, Orion dreamt of Earth, of the family he'd left behind, of his duties to the Alliance. But woven through these familiar thoughts were new images. Naya standing on an Earth beach, waves lapping at her, purple feet, a diplomatic chamber where humans and Zephyra signed documents of historical significance, the same sanctuary where he now slept, but filled with the laughter of voices not yet heard. He woke to find her watching him from the doorway. You were speaking in your sleep, she said. Names of people I will someday meet. This connection between us, he asked, sitting up, is it predetermined? Do we have any choice? Naya approached, sitting beside him on the sleeping platform. Her proximity sent an unexpected warmth through him. The Zephyra believe that time is fixed, but experience is choice. She explained, the moments may be inevitable, but how we live them is our freedom. Her hand found his in the dim light, her skin cooler than human temperature, but not unpleasantly so. In my timeline you chose to stay, she whispered. After your diplomatic mission was complete, you chose Nyx. You chose me. And now? He asked, his voice barely audible. What happens if I repair my ship and leave? Return to Earth before our proper meeting? A paradox, she said, her gray eyes reflecting starlight from the window. This timeline might collapse or continue without me, or create a divergent path I cannot see beyond that choice. Without thinking, Orion reached up to touch her face, his fingers tracing the delicate structure of her cheekbone, where small points of light seemed to pulse beneath her purple skin. And if I chose to stay now? Then we write a new timeline together, she whispered, leaning into his touch. That night beneath twin moons, something shifted between them. Words gave way to touch, hesitation, to exploration, the strangeness of their different forms, forgotten in the discovery of unexpected harmony. Later, as they lay watching the alien stars through the sanctuary's transparent ceiling, Naya traced the outline of his human form. In all the cosmic cycles, she murmured, some connections transcend species, time, even logic. I still don't understand how this is possible, Orion said, but I'm beginning to care less about the explanation. A strange alarm suddenly pierced the quiet, a device from his crashed ship pulsing with urgent light. What's happening? He asked. Sitting up, Naya's expression turned grave. The quantum core has stabilized itself, she said. Your ship is calling you home. The choice between worlds. The core won't remain stable for long. Orion said, examining the pulsing device. His repaired communicator displayed ship diagnostics, 24 hours at most. Naya stood in the doorway of the sanctuary, her purple form silhouetted against the rising suns. Then you must decide, she said quietly. Return to your world, or remain in mine. The day passed in tense preparation. Orion moved mechanically through repair protocols while his mind wrestled with impossible choices, his duty to Earth, the connection with Naya that grew stronger each moment, the paradox of timelines converging and diverging. If I leave, he asked as they stood beside the partially repaired ship, will I remember you? Or will this all be erased? I don't know, she admitted. Her gray eyes held galaxies of uncertainty. The Zephyra have theories about temporal loops, but even we cannot predict every outcome. A storm gathered on the horizon, massive clouds swirling with internal light, the atmosphere charged with energy. The temporal anomaly is growing, Naya explained. nature attempting to correct the paradox. That evening, as twin moons rose through storm clouds, they held each other in desperate silence. Words seemed inadequate. Against cosmic forces, whatever I choose, Orion whispered against her starlit hair, part of me will always remain here with you. Naya placed her hand over his heart. And part of me has always been with you, even before you knew me. The ship's alarm sounded again more urgent. The time for choice had come where time begins again. Lightning fractured the sky as Orion made his choice. The quantum core pulsed with unstable energy. The storm intensified with every passing moment. I understand now, he told Naya, taking her hands in his. Why you recognized me, why these feelings seem both new and ancient. She smiled through tears that glimmered like liquid starlight. Time is not a line but a circle, Orion. We find each other always. As the temporal storm reached its peak, they embraced one final time. His decision made, find me, she whispered, at the beginning. Light engulfed everything, rewriting reality itself. 5 years later, Commander Orion Drake stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel, Horizon. His mission to establish first contact with a newly discovered civilization. His dreams for years filled with purple skin and storm-gray eyes. Approaching orbital insertion, Captain, his navigator announced, welcome to Nyx. On the surface, a delegation waited. A small group of purple-skinned beings with eyes like gathering storms. The lead representative stepped forward, her hair flowing like liquid night embedded with stars. Captain Orion Drake, she said, her voice awakening memories. He couldn't possibly have I am Nia of the Zephyra. A smile of recognition crossed her face. I've been waiting for you. And as their eyes met, Orion felt the circle complete. The end, becoming the beginning. The timeline restored. Somehow, he said, feeling both déjà vu and discovery. I think I've been waiting for you too. The twin moons rose overhead, witnessing once again what had always been meant to be, a love that transcended time, species, and the very fabric of reality itself, beginning, again exactly as it always had, exactly as it always would.